What's up, guys? Going live. We decided to go live. We were there for a minute. We wasn't going to. We had a guest that was scheduled, and we had to cancel them because Shane, unfortunately, is going through some personal things, him and his family, and I'll let him discuss that when he thinks it's right. But I did get a guest on here. We got Dustin Olson. It's going to be his first time, first year racing flat cart, go kart, and we're going to bring him up. And got to fill in for Shane, which is going to be Trevor Holdren. He's going to come on here and he's going to help me out. So I'm going to bring up Dustin. And we'll go from there. Hey, Dustin, how you
Hey,
doing, man?
what's going on, Phil? How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, partner. Man, I'm glad you short notice. Thank you for jumping on here with me. And as soon as Trevor gets up here, uh, I'll just add him. He'll be up here in a minute. He's taking his dog out. Uh, I was explaining to everybody before I brought you up that it's your going to be your first time ever in a go kart on dirt coming up
Yeah,
this season, and
yeah.
I mean I talked to you repeatedly about this, and we have a bunch of conversations. It's easy when we work together. I
Yeah,
mean, we just have these conversations and stuff, man. And I mean, are you excited? Or are you what?
dude,
What?
I'm so pumped. I am so pumped. It's all I talk about. It's all I do on the internet. Like, I think I'm driving my wife a little nuts with it too. It's every time I turn around, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get this. I gotta do that. I was sitting there yesterday looking at prepping tires and stuff like that on online, and she come home from work early. And she said, "What the hell are you watching?" It's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll turn
Yeah,
on
don't
something
worry
else.
about it. So, okay, man. So, like, I know your history, but like
Mhm.
Trevor doesn't, and the world that we have here that we created doesn't know. So, like, what's your story, man? Tell us about your life.
So, we'll just stick, I guess, with the racing stuff. So when I was a little kid, got into go karting, just doing flat track asphalt. Loved it. Fell in love with it right from the start. Um, Kind of moved up, worked my way up through the ranks doing that down in Texas, and then we ended up moving to Ohio. Got up here, had to sell my cart, everything. It was heartbreaking. And great grandfather had a really good friend. He had known him since they were kids, and he had a race team up here, and they took me out to his shop, and my great grandpa had coffee and shot the shit all day while I was sweeping floors and moving tires and just whatever they wanted me to do. And I did it for about 2 weeks, and come in one day and he had a mini stock sitting in there for me. So I was a little confused. I never seen it before. I wasn't really exposed to racing other than watching NASCAR on TV back when I was a kid, and he said it's just a go kart, but it's got a frame and cover and everything. I was like, okay, let's do it. So um, start racing like Killcare, going up to Shady Bowl. We'd run up there, and so did that for a little bit. Went to Pro Fours, straight stock, modifieds. Got to where I was running late model for a while, and then I was doing really well, and had my own car for a little while, and backed it in the wall. And that was a fun one. But yeah, had an initial opportunity to run ARCA. That fell through. I was in the military and things just didn't line up right. Did some start and park stuff, some testing, ARC and ASA, and I that was Jesus. Hell, I'm 38 now, so 28, 18. That's 20 years ago. And
What?
yeah, I've raced. I think I've raced twice since then, and I've always wanted to get back into it. Just life and circumstances just never really let me get into it, and for whatever reason, I never thought about karting, and I don't know why. I always always thought that oh, if you're gonna get into it, man, you're gonna have to get back in a late model. I'm thinking about the money and everything, and I'm like, it ain't gonna work, you know.
Right.
So I'd kind of just given up on it, and then you walk into my damn office and start talking about racing, and it gets my blood going again, and you kind of introduced me to dirt cart and stuff like that. And I said, man, I never even thought about that. Talked to my wife about it. She's like, well, it sounds like something you should get into. And I said, okay, and here we are. So
So, is she ready to cuss me out yet?
not quite. Not quite. It'll be that first time I order 2 sets of tires that she will.
Or you come out and you're like, look, man, stock is a little slow. I'm going to move up, and then that's when I'll get cussed out.
She can hear me in the other room. She just texted me and said almost.
Well, man, I've said it 100 times on here. We're like we're grown ass men, but we're like little children.
Absolutely.
This is what it is, and quite frankly, man, I wouldn't be in this if it wasn't for the boy below you, Trevor. I mean, he got started in this a long time ago. Then we kind of lost, got out of it, and then we got back into it when he bought his own. And dude, it's created itself. I mean, everything has led to this. If I didn't have this and him, it wouldn't. This. Yeah, I wouldn't have this. I'd have never started this for sure.
Oh yeah.
But I know my wife gets crazy mad because once it turns the first like test and tune or whatever it is, I'm there every weekend regardless. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, we had some family over today. We were talking about it, and she said something about, oh yeah, we'll take kids out camping this night. I was like, Saturday nights are off limits, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you still got to have that. You still got to have that family time. My kids are grown up. So I got the granddaughter now, but I mean, she made it out to a race or two last year. It was nice. She was still little, So,
yeah.
I mean, what's that?
Oh, I was just gonna say we all joke around, but she's I bet she's damn near more excited than I am. So,
well, we just got to get her in it, get her in one.
I asked her,
family affair. You know what I mean?
I asked her. She said she didn't want to.
Yeah, well,
it's more tempting when you're there.
Yeah, Trevor's right. Everybody says that until they're there, and then they have the opportunity to get into it, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, this is."
They see the other women driving. They're like, "Oh well, if she can do it, I can do it."
Yeah, I mean, we had his sister and my daughter in one once last year, and she was nervous as hell. But I mean, you go out there and you just have fun. I mean,
hell, I've got a ton of experience, and I'm nervous.
I'm nervous, man. I mean, so I mean, what's your biggest fear right now? Like just the unknown?
I guess just not having any experience on dirt. Like that's really my biggest thing. There's 100 videos out there I can watch from Jug Run, especially from you two, and so as far as like, I think I got the timing down a little bit. I'm obsessive when it comes to this stuff, and I think I've got the timing pretty decent. It's just getting out there, Like I just want to get out there, see how the car feels underneath me, see how it reacts to the track. Learning how to read dirt is going to be something I'm really going to have to focus on.
Right.
So, yeah, I just don't want to go out there and make an ass of myself.
Well, we all do that. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, you'll be just fine with that. I mean, everyone, we're just out there to have fun. Most tracks, at least, unless you're kind of racing for some of those big money races or something. But otherwise, I mean, the tracks that we race at, they're pretty much strictly for fun. I mean, and some bragging rights. But we are just there to have fun, and that's all we really care about.
Right.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that's what's got me probably the most excited, though, is from some of the places that I've raced, and it's just like, it's cutthroat, you know, and you're out there waiting for somebody to track you down after the race half the time. But
Yeah.
you know, being able to kind of just take a deep breath and understand, like, even if I go out there and, you know, I turn it around and, you know, there's not going to be a judgment. If anything, there's going to be somebody come over and be like, hey man, like, this is what you're doing. This is what I
Absolutely.
saw, you know, and that's, you know, that's an old school way, for me at least. I mean, Trevor, I forget how old you are. I know Phil's told me before.
Yeah, I'll be 26 this March. So
26. Okay, so I'm about 12 years older than you. So
yeah.
even for me, you know, it's like it's this old school way where the older guys would kind of come over, the more
Mhm.
experienced guys come
Mhm.
over, throw an arm around you. Oh man, I seen you out there. You
Yeah.
pushed it just a little hair too far, you know.
Yeah.
And I love that camaraderie that you just kind of build in this sport is unlike anything else. So
Yeah, absolutely. You'll definitely have that still in the go karting and everything for sure. Maybe not at every track, but
no,
I can't tell you how many times, even still today, if I had something going on with my car and I'm out there driving and come off the track, someone's going to come up to me and be like, "Hey, I seen you were pushing a little hard in this corner or something. Have you tried adjusting this or something?" You know what I mean? And I take all. I'll listen to everyone's opinions and everything, and I'll digest that and use it and maybe tweak some of that or whatever. But yeah, you're definitely always going to have somebody, at least one person from a track, most of the time, is going to come up and try and help you. At least
right.
I've always had that experience. Besides, like one or two tracks I've been to at the very beginning when I started racing again.
Nice.
Uh, but no, yeah, you definitely people are definitely like that. They're going to want to offer help because everyone wants to see people do good and they want to race competitively even while we're having fun. But if I can make you better, that's going to make me better. We're going to have better racing and the viewers are going to enjoy the racing better and everything. So
Right.
at least that's how most people think of it. I believe so.
Right. Yeah, yeah, your dad, he really got me turned around on it because,
Mm,
you know, like I said, I kind of just told myself, yeah, it's never gonna happen again. You know, you'll just have to deal with it. And he's like,
Uh,
no, there's a way. We can
yeah,
get you in there. You know, and
yeah.
you know, Phil, you said something that really struck a chord with me, man. You said that you know, one of your biggest goals is to just get more people interested in this sport.
yep.
And I'm telling you, man, like that's where it's at, dude. Like that one statement right there made me just absolutely just like almost bloodlust want to get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. You know, man, like, I don't know, Trevor, how long have we been doing this? This is what, our fourth, fifth year now? Something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, something like
Something like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Um, I've just always loved racing. You know, when I was younger, um, I was really big into the NHRA, and I got to work at the track, and I just fell in love with racing in general. And then we got into this, and well, first, let me go back. We have a family member that ran modified for a long time, and we got involved in it, and then that's how we kind of got introduced into kart. Trevor had the opportunity to go race, and we took it, and then we got out of it for a while. All in general, we just went and watched. And Trevor bought his own, and then uh, we went to a couple tracks. We ended up going to Jug, and that's where we're at now. And it's like a big family. We're really intermingled there, like family, and they have a ridiculous car count about every week. But we went to other tracks too, and I just want people to have an opportunity to do something that they love. Like when I was growing up, I didn't have that opportunity to get out and get into racing as an actual racing. You know what I mean? So I
right,
never had that opportunity. So I think this is a really good way for somebody to get into it and express themselves and enjoy themselves. And you don't know, man. You can the next Dale Jr. or Earnhardt or Harvick or whoever, next Kyle Larson could be racing right next to you, but they're just a little form, little younger, a lot younger, you know. And if we
right.
didn't push it and keep growing the sport, our sport's going to die, and I don't want to see it die.
Yeah, I mean, you
It's,
gotta get kids involved for sure. I mean, you know, it's like as soon as I started talking about this, both my boys were like, yeah, we will do it. Like, okay, like I'll figure out how to get it done, and we'll get you in a seat.
Right, and then my thing is too, man, is I used to be a big diehard football guy. Trevor can contest to that. I don't even watch it anymore since we started really racing and paying attention to racing and more involved in it. I have no interest in it, man. I'd rather talk to guys like you guys that have the same interests as me, and that I get to
Yeah.
go out there and make a fool out of myself every Saturday night. You know what I mean?
I'm with you there, man. I mean, when NASCAR and Formula One are over in November, and I'm literally just like, all right, well, I guess I'll watch football until
Yeah,
NASCAR comes back. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
and
I'm glad to see a guy even at your age and my age get into it, because now that you're going to go out there and I know you're going to like it, and it's going to grow on you more and more. And then now you can help me spread the word of getting somebody out there and get them
for
to
sure.
a good track and grow the sport. I created this sport was to grow the sport. And I mean, we've had guys on here from other racers like Ken Posey, Trevor, John. Um, I mean, we've had Shane. I mean, Jarrett. I mean, we've had Brian Crum, Charlie, Wyatt. I mean, since we start doing this, man, it's all about the racers and the track. None of this is sponsored or anything like this, man. It's just us talking about where we come from. And that's the name of the game here,
Yeah.
I love it.
It's grassroots, man. It's where it all started.
That's exactly what it is, man. Like I talked to you, and you're like, "Oh man, I used to drive," and you told me some of the stuff that you did, and I'm like, "Holy shit, man! Why are you not out here with us?" You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like I said, man, it never even crossed my mind until you said it, and I was like, "Damn, I never even thought about that." I didn't think about the fact that when I was, 9, 10 years old, and running against guys that were 16, 17, 18, that it was even a possibility. Like you just don't think about it. But
yeah, kind of out of sight, out of mind too, especially if you're not around that all the time or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's just something you just don't think about. I mean, even if you did race when you're younger, I mean, those are some old memories, obviously. But yeah, that's how old are your kids, if you don't mind me asking? They pretty young?
Yeah. So my one boy, he turns 11 tomorrow.
Okay,
and
cool.
then the other one's 14.
Yeah, we can definitely get him in a car for sure. Yeah, there's
for sure.
Yeah, there's plenty of people, and that's the great thing that I like about the sport too. Is, I mean, even at other tracks, I've seen people offer up their carts. Like, even if they're racing that race, they'll hop out and give you their cart to race in. Sometimes, like, it's just that it even goes that far. As people are willing to share more than just their tools and their time and their knowledge. They'll legit let you hop in their cart during a race or even after the race and tear it up. I mean, I've let people jump in mine just because we want to grow the sport and we want people to have fun, and that's all I really want at the end of the day as well. So you can't really hurt these things. I mean, yeah, you can, but I mean, unless they're out there racing with a group of 13 other people, they're really not going to hurt them or hurt the cart at all. So I'll let them run it around. I mean, as long as they're being safe and wearing the safe proper equipment and stuff, then I'll let you in my car. I'll let anyone in it as long as they're okay with it and their parents are okay with it. I mean, that's how we've done that. A lot of people at other tracks done that, and I love seeing that too, just because I feel like that goes further. Willing to allow someone to just jump into your cart and drive it. That says a lot, especially about some of these people that you race along with as well. Some of these guys are great.
Yeah, and if you have the goal of building the sport, man, that's the perfect way to do it. Let them get out there, do 3 or 4 laps. They get that itch. And it's like, oh, I really like that, and that's then they go home. Oh man, Trevor let me drive 4 times around that track, and it was so much fun. Dad, I gotta get this thing. Okay, So.
And that's it. That's the whole name of the game right there. Is you never know. You just never know what you're gonna. By allowing somebody to get in your cart, you just never know what kind of turn you're going to make in their life or what kind of impact
Yeah.
you're going to make, and I mean, that's what it's all about. So, um, with you racing at Shady Bowl and Kill Care and all that stuff, man, like, have you ever raced against anybody that is significant name that anybody would know today, or was it just a bunch of local guys?
Most of it's local guys. You'd have your celebrity guys come in from time to time. There was there was one race I raced in. Dale Jr. was in. That was a fun one. I beat the back end off of his car to get by him, which was fun. But a lot of it was just local guys. I'm trying to think, man. It's been so damn long. A lot of these guys probably don't even run up there anymore. I know there was the Dunleavys, Pool. It was always good family. And man, I can't even think. It's been so long. But
do you have any feature wins underneath your belt at Shady Bowl or Kill Care? Or?
Yeah, I had a few. I did. Yeah, I did pretty well. I wasn't a guy who could get out there every weekend. I did my best to, but it wasn't always what I wanted. I mean, there was times where, it's like, all right, well, this modified's messed up or whatever. I ain't got nothing else to drive. I go out there in like a Pro 4 and drive it, and you go in there cold with no prep or anything like that. You run like shit. You finish dead last, almost a lap down in a 15 lap race,
Right.
But no, it's like I said, being so long ago, hell, all those guys, hell, half the guys I raced with are probably dead and gone. I hate saying that, but it's
right.
I mean, but yeah, there were a lot of older guys when I was running, so it's hard to tell anymore. I haven't been out there in forever.
So do you think it's going to be a big transition going from asphalt to dirt? Shorter wheelbase?
Yeah, just the way the heart, having the shorter wheelbase, a narrower car, it's going to be more snappy. If it's loose, it's going to be super loose. If it's tight, it's not going to be as bad as with a bigger car. I'm just really not sure what to expect, to be honest with you. I'm really not. I mean, like I can drive on gravel and dirt and the snow like in a regular car, but you're slowing down and not doing anything too crazy. Going out there and hitting a turn at 40 miles an hour and just hoping that it hangs on and that your wheels stick, that's a whole different thing. So
I don't know. What do you think his going to be hard for him to adjust to? What do you think?
Honestly, I'm not real sure, but I think with if you've raced asphalt, is that correct? You said.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly that's is it circle track asphalt strictly, or did you do some road course? Or?
Yeah, so in kart it was road course.
Okay.
In everything else it was all strictly oval.
Okay, cool. I honestly think that most of that will benefit you more than anything, and just for a lot of different reasons, and we could go into that separately, but I think a lot of that would help transition into some dirt track racing. Although dirt is very different than asphalt, but as far as racing alongside people, passing them, how to get around them, making those moves, what line to be running on, I think all of those are going to really help you transition into dirt. So I mean, as far as like, I don't know you that well or anything. Obviously, could just met you, so I don't know what you're going to struggle with. But really, just I think the first few races, just getting your feet underneath you, really, and understanding, like you're saying, you just don't know what to expect. Right. I think that's just. I mean, that's not even a hard part to get over. I think that's just going to be the biggest turn for you. I think, in my personal opinion, with you having prior experience, I think with you just getting your feet under the ground, you've obviously been in plenty of vehicles, you can drive, you know how to race and everything. I think all that's just going to help you transition into a go-kart. And there's a lot of things with go-karting and racing and all kinds of other racing, but I think, like I said, once you get your feet underneath you a little bit and you understand what everything feels like, you're going to be just fine. You'll be off to the races, and to be completely honest with you. And that's just what I think. But I think a lot of that road course stuff could definitely help too, especially with you already being in a go-kart. Because there's some things I've picked up from road course racing as far as like looking out for the next turn ahead of you, as far as like knowing where you're going to make that turn in at the next turn. Even though you're on a circle, that your turn in point can be completely different depending on who's in front of you, who's beside you, who's behind you, how fast they're going compared to how fast you're going, compared to the track setup. And I mean, a lot of that stuff obviously matters. So I think a lot of that stuff is just going to help you transition over into a dirt track go-kart racing. And you're going to have a lot of fun with that. I can tell for sure. I think anyone's going to have a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of fun for sure. I have so much fun even going to like your indoor go-kart tracks for like $30-$50, you know what I mean, for one race. Like that stuff's even a blast. But once you have your own kart and you can do it every weekend and you have that availability and the support, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun for sure.
Agreed.
It's going to be addicting.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sure. It already is. I ain't even started yet.
Yep.
And learning how to read the dirt and like where the grooves are and where
that all comes with time. I can't look at a track and read it. Like I'm not going to be able to look at the dirt and be like, this is a tacky track or this is going to be slick. No, I just got to go out for hot laps, my practice laps, get my feet underneath me and see, because every race, and honestly like even the next race, as far as like you do your hot laps and you go out for your heat race or even your feature, I feel like the tracks change so much in dirt just because you're on a dirt surface. It can get worn out, it can change, you can put rubber into it, you know what I mean, you can get slick still. I forgot I was going ahead with that, honestly, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And I couldn't read a track. It's a lot of that stuff comes with just repetitive experience, in my opinion. I do every race I do go out on the track and I'll stick my fingernail down into the track a little bit just to see how soft or how compact it is a little bit, you know what I mean? But with the track, the track will change throughout that race specifically, let alone the whole night conditions, weather conditions, just everything. So I think that may be the biggest thing that you will have to kind of grasp is just track conditions and how those conditions change so fast on a track. Because I've had it just right off the beginning, you feel like you're sticking. And that could just be because of tire prep too, but track condition. But that's just in general. Like you can lose so much traction just throughout the race just because of the track or your tires or something. But just reading dirt is hard. I mean, all that stuff comes with experience, really, and that's just all it is. And like we have 4 or 5 years, and I mean, sure, I know a little bit, but I mean, you're never going to be able to know everything. There's not enough time in the world to know everything there is about one particular thing by any means. So.
Yeah, your dad kind of warned me. He said, you go out there 4 times in a night and have 4 different tracks, that you're racing on.
You definitely can.
And me personally, I love that. I would. I guess I welcome the challenge.
Right.
With stuff that I was doing, especially if you have longer races, you get 75 features or something like that. The track changes, it rubbers up, it gets, there's a car loses a little bit of oil or something, it slicks up, and you move lines, you try to find where you can get some grip, where you can get some speed, and then by the end of the race, you're just all over the place. And, I love it. So,
yeah, it's going to be fun, man. Just get your feet underneath you, you'll be just fine. Every night's a new night. The track's different every week, I feel like some nights it's similar, but it's never the same, you know what I mean? And that could just be because of a lot of different things, your setup, your tire condition, whatever, you know what I mean? But I feel like the week to week is never the same, as far as you can go that track the next week or even the next day, and it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, I mean, even Posey last week said that he won the race there and said he never changed nothing on the cart. And he come back next week, left it all alone, come back, and he couldn't pass nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how how much it changes. I mean, it just changes that bad.
I guess coming in with a little bit of experience, you can have a track that's identical from one weekend to the next. I mean, a 10-degree difference in track temperature changes how you drive it. So,
yep. For sure, man, for sure. So you was in the military, you said. So thanks, man, for serving the country. What did you do?
So my primary MOS, I did exactly what I do now.
Nice.
So I did cable systems installation and maintenance. It was setting poles and digging holes. Man, we placed all the fiber communications and stuff like that for different bases. Did 3 tours. Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, you name it, I've been there. Um, Traveled the world, saw all kinds of stuff, but yeah, man, um, it was just 8.5 years of blur. Ended up with 4 different MOSs, and by the end of it, and ended up getting out. And kind of a kind of a long story on that one, but yeah, I it's one thing that I do miss just about every day.
Nice. So, what branch was you in?
So I was in the army. So I joined the army. I was 17 years old. They had something called a split option. You could go to basic training between your junior and senior year.
Yep.
Uh, so I went to basic, came back, finished high school, and then was supposed to be going to college, and then got orders. Well, I went to AIT down at Fort Gordon in Georgia. It's in Augusta. So I think you've got some ties to Augusta there, Phil.
Oh, Shane. Yeah.
And so I was down there, and then I came home. Was home for a few weeks. Left. Was going to college. Got orders. Left again. Went overseas. Was gone for a year. Came home. Left for some training. Came back. Then left for 6 months for training. Came back. Left for a deployment. Came back. I mean, it was just a lot of back and forth. But a lot of good memories. More good memories than bad, that's for sure. Even the real bad ones. But yeah, no, it put a lot of discipline in me. Made me understand that sometimes it's better to just be patient than jump right into something. Which I wish I'd learned when I was a younger racer. That's for damn sure. Probably wouldn't cost myself so much money.
Yeah.
Right. So, so have you bought anything race gear wise yet, or
Not yet, man. I've
old
got
lady won't let you? The wifey won't let you yet, or
yeah, she's so we just got her a new Jeep, and she was like, well, we like let's get finances back going. I was like, all right, cool. Got taxes coming in, stuff like that, but it's coming, man. So I expect probably in the next week or two I'll have it all bought. Um, she texted me. She said, too busy buying Jeep stuff.
you busy buying Jeep stuff? I get it.
Yeah, and that's an expensive hobby, and it's not even a hobby. It's just a daily driver.
Right,
So,
right.
But
with the amount of ducks you have to purchase to put on the damn dash, yeah, it gets pretty expensive.
I told her if I see one damn duck on that Jeep, I'm driving right off the side of the road.
All right, yeah. We'll get along just fine, Dustin. We'll get along just fine.
Yeah, there you go, right?
But
Oh man. So like I mean, so explain to me, like, when you went home and you told your wife that,
mhm.
hey, I'm going to go dirt track racing in a go-kart. I mean, you gotta tell us, like, what she said, what her face looked like, especially when you showed her.
Well, so it was funny. So you and me had talked, and you gave me like a theoretical, and I said, okay, I'll go to the house and I'll talk to her about it. And so I came in. I said, hey, theoretically, if I had a cart to run this year, um, how would you feel about that? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, like if I had a go kart to go race in, I was like, how would you feel about me doing it this year? And she goes, well, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, oh, okay. um, but yeah, she actually, she was actually really excited about it. She knows this is something I love. And so yeah, she's she keeps sending me cliff notes, man, from upstairs. She said she said I'm excited. I'm just I'm I'm just mad because of how much it's gonna cost me. And
Well,
I owe her a bike too. So
Oh,
Well,
you need to
I'll
get her
say,
on. You need
I
to
will
get
say,
her back down and just get on camera instead of sending cliff notes back and forth. I mean, I'll just ask her questions myself, and she can answer it.
right.
I don't have to be listening to it, you know.
Oh, she's. Well, here, hold on one second.
I know she's not shy of talking. I think he'll be all right, Trevor. You know, I mean,
yeah,
we all
no,
do. And,
yeah. I mean, it's not real hard to get in a go kart and make laps. Obviously,
hey, there she is.
Hi.
This is
So
the
Nice to
lovely
meet you.
goose.
Nice to
we're
meet you guys.
nice to meet you. So we're glad that you're not putting damn ducks in your windshield. Of your
Yeah.
Jeep.
No.
Okay, cool.
Thank God for that. So we're no legit. So like, I got to know your personal thoughts about your old man racing this upcoming season on dirt, and what's your thought line? You good with that, or are you going to be jealous and you're going to want to get out there too? 'Cause that's what I'm hoping for.
So I'm gonna be nervous at first because his safety matters. But and I was a little concerned about all the money, but I was super like pumped for him because it's all he ever talks about. But yeah, I think eventually I'm gonna get jealous and I'm gonna want to get in it. So
It's
See,
a family thing, man. It's perfect, dude. You can't ask. This is like the legit best family sport that I think you can get into. You know, I'm in it with my son. We go out there every weekend and we build memories, and we've made so many memories with other people that are there that are now like our family. You know, so I can't wait for you guys to get to the track and get out there. I want to stand there. I'll be in the chute because I always help Ben in the chute. So I'll be standing in the chute your first time around the track. So it's going to be great.
Oh, I can't wait. I'll come around and Phil will be like, "Why are you driving so slow?"
Yeah. You're going to come back in. I was going so fast. No, you was not.
You'll feel
half
like it too
throttle
because
with
you're like
that.
this far off the ground.
Yeah, you'll feel like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
flying. And then at the end of the night, we'll put him in Trevor's cart and my cart, and we'll show him, like, you can always move up to us. You know what I mean?
So I will say though, with just like with every hobby, you can make it as expensive as you want.
Yes.
You can make it as cheap as you want. I mean, like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why we have the box stock class. I mean, it's an entry level class as far as budget. You don't have to go spend countless. I mean, however much you want to spend on an engine, you can just get one from Harbor Freight and throw it on and be competitive and race along with a bunch of other people and have memories and travel with them and whatever. So you definitely don't have to go throwing the checkbook at it for sure, but you definitely can, and you'll have just as much fun either way. But you do get what you pay for to an extent, but at the same time, within this community and the industry, there's only so many options to go with as well for like clutch stuff and all this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So everyone's kind of in the same boat. You know what I mean? They're either using a max torque or they're able to use this. You know what I mean? So as far as budget and stuff, you can make it as expensive as you want, but definitely,
Nope.
You got to spend some money to be able to play the sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what I mean. So
Yeah, I was really surprised because I wasn't when I was little. I was never part of like the engine building process or anything like that. You know,
Right.
my grandfather did all of that stuff.
Mhm.
But when me and Phil were talking about it, he's like, "All right."
sorry, I like to
Yeah.
watch.
But I was really surprised when Phil was like, "Yeah, you can just go down to Harbor Freight and buy an engine." I'm
Mhm.
like, "What?" I was like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, it's that easy." I get on there and they're like $150, $180, and I was
Yeah.
like, "That doesn't really break the bank, like that's
No.
not a huge deal." I was
Yeah.
like, I think that the chassis and the tires cost more than the engine does, if you're just going to do box.
Yeah.
But
Chassis for sure. chassis. The chassis.
Oh,
for
yeah.
is what costs.
Yeah, I've looked at some, and it was like, all right, I can get on Facebook Marketplace and find something that's not adjustable at all, and
Mhm.
it's like $200,
Right.
or I can get online and buy, something brand new, and it's like $2,000, and I'm like, holy shit, like that's a huge difference. But so, Trevor, I was going to ask you a minute ago,
Yeah.
what are you running this year?
As far as class wise, it'll most likely
Yeah.
be modified again.
Okay.
I'll race in any class, man. Like I said, I race just to race. To be honest with you, I mean, I like to go fast. So if I can go fast, I'll go fast. But like I said, at the end of the day, anytime I'm in a go kart, it feels like you're going fast because you're so far and so close to the ground.
Right.
But I'll most likely be racing modified, and I don't know. It just depends what happens and what things look like this year. Who knows, But modified most likely.
Okay.
Maybe super stock. We'll see. But most likely just probably staying modified as long as we can keep things together and everything. So
I got you. Yeah, I've been stalking the Jug Run Facebook page,
Mhm.
looking at the rules and stuff for the
Yeah.
last couple of years. I got another guy that me and Phil work with. He's interested in getting into it, and then
Yeah.
my wife's cousin. He lives a few miles up the road. I was showing him. I was showing some of y'all's videos last weekend when he stopped by, and I was like, "Yeah, man, this is where I'm gonna be racing. This is what I'm doing." He's like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. Like, I got to get into this,
Yeah.
And his wife's like, "Oh, great, another hobby,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like an engineer and fabricator. Like
He'll
he's
fit right in.
into the tweaking it and trying to see. He's like, well, what can you take? I was like, well, like you can't show up with a jet engine on the back of it, but he's like, well,
Well, I tell you, if we can get 3 of them out there, we will probably create a class.
yeah,
And they do have they do run a run what you brung class. So I mean, if that's the class that a track has, I mean, depending on what that role is, usually it's an open engine class, so you can run just about any engine. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't just throw a jet engine on the track, but they either run what you brung, and people use all kinds of engines and that.
Was that Ducati had a BMW helicopter engine in one of their bikes one time?
Jesus.
That's crazy. That's insane, man. I couldn't fathom having something like that. I mean, I would try it for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I saw a 212 horsepower go-kart, like flat cart,
Oh yeah,
and it was doing like quarter mile races, and it's hitting like 150 miles an hour in like a quarter mile or something like that. It's smoking like Porsches and BMWs and Lamborghinis. I'm like, good Lord.
Crazy, man. You never know what hillbillies or convention will come.
Oh yeah, yeah. That guy's got like a big rebel flag on his back. He listens to Freebird everywhere he goes.
Yeah, Freebird. It's great, man. I'm excited for you to be able to come out and play with us on every Saturday night and join the family, and it's going to be fun for sure. I mean,
oh yeah. I'm like she said, it's all I talk about. It's ever since I got that itch, thanks to you.
Oh no! Do not blame me.
I won't blame you. I'll say thank you though.
He's going to blame me, right?
Yeah, she'll be the one blaming you.
She'll be the one blaming me.
But
well, I mean, I can tell you this is like firsthand. Kind of stay away from the tires because they will suck you in.
Yeah.
On the top, I mean, they really suck you in. I've had numerous incidents with tires, but I mean, for the most part, man, just go out there and run your race, and you'll be fine. And you got some good company in those classes down there. I mean, it gets a little bumpy and stuff, but just keep running your stuff. And I think you'll be just fine. Ken Posey is so funny, man. What he posted here, I'll share it. He said
Don't follow me, I get
I
lost.
get lost. And that's so Ken Posey, man. That's great. Um, he's another good guy, man. Just that whole clan that he runs with, man. Him and Andy and stuff, man. Those are all just good guys. You'll notice it. You'll notice it when you get out there. That, man, no matter what you do, there'll be guys coming up to you, like you said, like Trevor said, hey man, seen that you was looking a little too tight or a little too loose. Try this and try that. I mean, we're all there for the same purpose as everybody else. We're there to have fun and run. It's
Yeah,
great.
And that's what I'm super excited about is, like if you played any sports at all ever, as a kid or anything like that, it's like you got that camaraderie with your teammates. You join the military, you got your buddies next to you that you have that camaraderie with. And, outside of probably the Army or military in general, I think the racing community is probably the closest knit I've ever seen. And you miss it, like you
Right.
get away from it and then you think about it. It's like, oh man, like I need this damn wrench and I ain't got it, blah, blah, blah. Used to, you just be like, you just call your buddy and they'd be like, yeah, I got one, and you get away from that and you lose touch with people. And then all of a sudden you're just like, damn, I miss that. And then you start thinking about other things. And, and I'm gonna use this first year, to learn, like learn the track, learn the car, learn how to, prep tires, learn how to work on the motor. It's this first season. I don't have any illusions of grandeur to go out there and just set the world on fire. Like I just want to learn that way. I can learn and then I can teach and then, I can show my boys and my kids and, my friends and stuff that I'm going to eventually get involved into this and, be able to pass that knowledge on to them too. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Well, wait till you get like 2 or 3 carts out there at the same time. You gotta maintain in the pits, and you're running crazy and stuff, man, and you're like, why did I do this?
Why did I do this?
But I mean, I got to give it to Trevor. Like, there's plenty of times like I'm involved with Ben and those guys and helping those guys. There's times that I forget to make my own crap, and Trevor's got to take care of it for me. You know what I mean? Or I'll come back and Trevor's nowhere to be found. He's forgot both of our stuff. He's over helping somebody that's new at the track. I mean, that happens all the time.
Right.
So,
I mean, I'd rather help somebody else, honestly, than go race myself. If I can get someone else on the track, I'm most likely going to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, you're good. One little advice I would have just for your upcoming season would just to take the tail until you're comfortable.
Yep.
That's a great learning experience. It gets you away from everybody, any kind of issues that you can get yourselves into on the track. I took the tail I'll still take the tail today sometimes if I wanted to. But for the first year or two, I honestly felt like I took the tail a good bit just so I had to be able to build some more confidence. And I never, for the longest time, I didn't really have a competitive kart until we got our new chassis and we started to really learn some more stuff. So I felt way more comfortable in the back as well. But I would try taking the tail for your first few races until, like you said, until your feet underneath you. That I think that could help a lot too, especially because when you're behind everybody, you can watch and see how they're racing, what lines they're taking. You know what I mean? And that just builds on your knowledge. Right. What not to do and what to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, you follow somebody with some experience, you can learn a lot just from watching the back end of somebody's car.
Absolutely,
I learned that.
Exactly.
Forever ago.
Yep.
So, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. He goes out there the first time, he pulls the pole pill, and he's sitting on the pole. He's never been on the track before. He's so
Yeah.
great.
Yep. Just put yourself on the tail. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. They don't
Put it on
care.
the tail, boys.
Yeah. Just look at everybody like, all right, yeah, no, you guys
Yeah.
take it. I'll be back
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, no one's gonna say anything about it. They're gonna be like, all right, well, if you want, yeah.
Yeah,
You
They're
don't
gonna
want the
get back.
pole?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to start on the pole? I
Right.
don't know. Probably the
I
most
don't.
green guy on the track today. You want me to go out there and dive into turn one sideways in front of you guys? I don't think
There's
so.
Right.
15 more people out there behind you. Get ready to run him over. And you throw the pole. That'd be great. Well,
It ended up
definitely.
looking. It looked like the start of a NASCAR race when somebody runs out of gas.
Yeah, well, I
Like,
mean,
what
you know,
the
if it's
hell?
anything like this Bowman Gray crap, it'll look like that. So
Yeah, I've ran out of fuel on the track more than once.
I have.
No.
I was in the
Well,
lead right out.
You get a little mailbox sized gas tank. That's all you get, and then you just
Yeah.
forget throughout the night. You're working on other people's stuff, or you're working on yours, or just talking. And next thing you know, you're like spitting and sputtering in corners, and you're like, "What in the hell's going on?" And then the next thing you know, you look down while you're in the infield, not watching everyone else make laps around you, and you're like, "Oh, I don't
Ain't
got no
no
gas in it."
Ain't no gas in it.
You're like, oh my god, I'm a dumbass.
Oh man. Ugh.
Yeah, I've done that
It
many
happens.
times. Yep. I've
Look,
done
I
that.
missed the start of a race because I didn't put my damn steering wheel in, so I can't say anything.
I don't know what form.
You'll make a lot more of those memories in go-karting for sure. I
Oh,
think one
yeah.
of my favorite memories actually so far, and I actually still have this on GoPro. I should probably repost it. Was like right in the beginning when Dad and I started racing again. He had pull started his goat kart in the chute, right? And everyone else was waiting. He started his, and it just took off. He wasn't in it. He was just standing beside it and just boom, started, and it just started 360 and right, and it took out a table. It just started taking stuff out, and I got up and just ran over there as fast as I could. We all got it shut off and whatnot. But
We're all like standing like, what the hell happened?
I mean, there's a lot of those. You're gonna have
It's
a lot of those experiences and memories for sure.
That's
As
funny.
soon as I
Oh,
started
man,
that
that's
thing,
funny.
dude, that thing went wide open.
What the hell happened?
It just the throttle had stuck
Really?
somehow, yeah, and it just went off. It was ready to go.
It was
Chunk of mud stuck in
making
there.
its own race, man, out in the
Mhm.
chute. It was just beating shit up. It took out a table, like you said. I mean,
I was
we were
like,
trying to
oh
pull.
god,
We're like, what in the world?
we're gonna get kicked out.
out.
we got banned from Jug Run.
For what? I just took out their table. And
Oh, I caused like $1,000 in damage with my
Right.
cart.
Yeah.
right,
How the hell
right.
did you do that?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Man, I don't know what my favorite memory is. There's so many of them.
Yeah, so that one just sticks out, and it's just funny that it happened. Like I was in my goat kart, we're all waiting to go, and his just starts going, and no one else was ready, taking stuff out.
That's wild.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what mine
Yeah.
would be. Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing that up, Trevor. That was great.
Yeah, no, good. I'm gonna send a link to it in the chat here so people can go watch it.
Oh, you have
Oh yeah.
Another
Hell
thing
no.
I could definitely recommend is to definitely not skimp out on any safety gear. I'm sure you can obviously would know that already with prior
Yeah.
racing experience, but definitely in spend money on proper safety gear. I mean,
Yep.
get yourself gloves. You have to have a neck brace. Like, get yourself a good helmet. Like, it doesn't have to be a $700 helmet, but don't go buying an $80 helmet and expect it to protect your noggin when something happens. Just
Yeah,
because we've seen a lot of, I mean, not that we've seen a lot of crashes that are bad or anything, but just crashes. And we've had people roll over a few times, and it happens. It's racing, and people can definitely get hurt. And so definitely make sure safety gear is on top of that list, just because, just like we said, we're here for everybody. We want everyone to enjoy the sport as long as they can. So safety gear is going to allow you to participate.
Yeah, that was the one thing I refused to like.
Mm-hmm.
I was like going through there, and I was like, well, I could get this $1,200 helmet. My wife looked at me. She said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, you want to be safe, She's like,
Yeah, I mean,
But-
like, you make sure they're certified, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think
no,
my biggest safety push was Trevor. You got to remember this was last year when Jarrett from Jug
Mhm.
just going into turn 3 and right in the middle of turn 3 and 4, he just shot straight to the right and went through the tires, went upside down, and him and his cart literally landed on top of my cart upside down. And me and Trevor run over, and he's laughing. I mean, it was a serious wreck, but I mean, we're just like, how in the hell did this happen? You know what I mean? It is just like so. Yeah, safety stuff is like is obviously the best.
Yeah, I mean, we're not racing for $1 million. You know, I mean, we're literally racing for a sticker. We paid $10 to get in. I mean,
Right.
I want to go home and see my daughter and my wife, and I want to go to work. You know, what I mean, like I want to be healthy. So
yeah, you don't want to like walk in the next day with like a neck brace
no,
on.
not at
Hey,
all.
boss.
No.
Yeah, no,
In a body cast, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'll
it's a lot of
definitely
fun, but it ain't worth that.
no, it's not. It's not even at the higher levels. You know,
Mhm.
I got to commend some of these drivers like Dale Jr. and Kurt Busch who have just kind of stepped aside because of concussions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Recognizing that these are real problems, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, for sure.
you know, I commend pretty much everybody from the bottom down or bottom up in pretty much every racing series all across the world
Mhm.
that have taken safety seriously.
Yeah.
You know,
Got to.
and I kind of got to experience the tail end of that where there's guys still running with open face helmets, you know,
Right.
to Hans devices, you know,
Mhm.
and it's yeah, I'm with you there, Trevor. Like that's something I won't
Yeah.
kind of turn a blind eye to is the safety aspect of it. So
Yeah.
So are you
There's-
telling us that you're not going to show up to the track with the little pink unicorn helmet that you bought at Walmart from the bicycle rack? You're not.
well, I mean, I'll have goggles. I'll have goggles on too.
all right, well, at least you got the goggles.
But it's got like a pink, it's got like a pink ponytail that like blows in the wind.
Well, as long as it doesn't hang down too far, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I know it's supposed to be tucked up in there, but
Yeah,
it's it's supposed to be pretty. So.
Yeah.
Give him some little tassels to hang off his steering wheel. That way he goes
Get a little-
driving, they're blown in the wind.
Little bike bell, I'll be like racing. Cling, 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 cling. Trying to fasten people.
Sometimes you need that though. Get
Yeah,
out of my
get out
way.
of my way.
I'll just have like a jar of marbles or something. I'll just throw it at the back of their helmet.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah, or you can just reach over and grab their bumper. You know, you might be able
Yeah,
to do that.
we do that. Yeah, that's one thing that you will definitely see. That you will see guys reach over and just flip your kill switch as you're going
Yeah,
on the back.
I was gonna say I was watching one of y'all's episodes the other day, and you said something about somebody just drove up next to you under like was it under caution or was it during the race?
Yeah, it was Ben.
Yeah, just
Like,
drove
you know,
over and just goes click, just turned the engine off. Like have a good one, man.
Yeah, we're all there to have fun.
You son of a bitch.
I love it. I love it. It's stories like that, man, that you just you'll remember those dumb moments more than you'll ever remember a win. You know.
Yeah.
I've had I've had quite a few of them. Trevor's had some too, where he's drove mid race with one hand on the steering wheel, one hand on the throttle because the
Done
cable
that
either
plenty
broke
of
or
times
something.
actually.
And
Sure.
he's just out there, man, just giving her hell.
Yeah. I mean, why pull off if I can still go? You know,
Right.
I can
Comes
still
back
go. I
in.
can still stop.
His arms all burned up. Like, no shit, Sherlock. He just sat it laying on the exhaust going.
I didn't have time. It was a green flag. You know, I didn't have time to think. I just had to go.
Hey man, it's bragging rights. Hey,
Yeah.
you can go into the
I mean,
pits and be like, "Oh yeah, how many of you guys finished a race without a throttle?" Like
It's just me thinking on the fly. It's like, well, my throttle's not working. Well, let's check it here. Oh, it works. All right. Well, this is how we're driving.
yeah. I guess this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out there just chucking along, man. And everybody's like, how in the hell is he doing that?
Yes, I didn't. I definitely was probably finishing last every time I had to drive with my hand like that, but I
Hey,
still raced.
you finished, right?
Yeah,
You know,
It's
you saw that
most
checker,
of
you
the,
saw checkers.
I would say maybe most of the time I finished. There's been plenty of times where it's happened and I just like pull off. I'm like, I ain't dealing with this, or I'm like all over the place, because then that's when I usually start to spin out, is when I do have to like one hand I'm throttling with the other hand, and I'm like just spinning out or something in the corner.
Yeah, it's making memories, man. It's all about making memories and having fun and stuff, and a lot of it's bragging rights too. You know, I mean,
So
Oh, yeah.
have you been to any dirt track races at all, Dustin?
Uh, so I've been to like Eldora. We go
Okay.
up to Lima. We like Lima
Okay.
Land.
Yeah.
We've been up there once or twice, I think. I love
Cool.
that track. It's
Cool.
nice. I went to a lot of dirt races when I was younger.
Hmm.
We would go. Hell, I can't remember the name of them down in Texas, but my grandpa would take me to them.
Nice.
I really got that passion for racing from him and my grandmother. They were big
Yeah.
NASCAR fans, and
Gotcha.
my aunt and uncle, they were huge NHRA fans. They lived in Dallas, so we'd go to the O'Reilly Fall Nationals every fall. It was always the week of my birthday, and we were in Ennis, Texas for the NHRA Fall Nationals every year. But but yeah, no, I've been to a lot of dirt races. I haven't been to any kart races. But I've seen you know uh late models,
Mhm.
sprints,
Yeah.
USAC. I've seen all that.
Cool. Yeah. And you may have said this earlier, but did anyone else in your family race?
So my dad used to race midgets.
Okay.
Now he wasn't ever a part of my life. Not trying to get serious about this or anything, but
Hmm.
yeah, he raced midgets back when he was younger.
Okay.
Great grandpa, he did some dirt racing because that was all they had back then.
Right.
Racing old, like
Yeah.
32 Fords and shit.
Yeah.
And then grandpa didn't get into it. He kind of he was Vietnam era, so he didn't really get that opportunity. But
Gotcha.
yeah, no, we were we were that family. It was, on Sundays everybody's at church and the preacher's talking about, oh well, we gotta shut it down. Cowboys play in an hour. And we're like,
I gotcha.
yeah, they're racing at Bristol this week, bud. Like, so that was us. And when I got into it, man, that was he loved it. He absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. But
That's awesome. Cool. Are you excited for your kids to possibly be being interested in this?
I really am. I
Yeah.
really am. I uh my oldest son lives down in Texas. He won't. He doesn't have an interest in it or anything like that. But my next oldest boy, my stepson,
Hmm.
he's 14, and I think he's asked me probably 100 times in the last 2 weeks about it. And he was like, "Well, when football season starts in the fall, like, is that going to like clash?" And I'm like, "Well, you're in middle school, bud. Like, you'll be, we'll
You
be out there on Saturday night. Like, you play football on like Thursdays. Like, you'll be fine."
gotcha. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, "Okay, cool, 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 cool." So I was like, "All right." But
That's awesome.
he goes to his dad's every other weekend. So once I get him in a cart,
Hmm.
he might not be out there every weekend, but
Right.
but the one that I'm really trying to talk into is the daughter, the
Okay.
9-year-old.
Okay.
She's the daredevil out of all of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think she'll be the one. I get her into one
Okay.
one time. She'll be like, "Oh shit, this is the best thing ever."
Yeah. Yeah, there was a pretty big Powder Puff presence there at Jug Run for a long time. I mean, not that
Yeah,
it's gone. It's just a lot of them kind of went into other classes
yeah.
and or whatever. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of females out there that are and young ladies that are driving down there at Jug Run in general and all over the place here locally. That's racing. So.
Oh, I
Uh,
love it. I
yeah, a
love
lot
it.
of people to look at. Dude, they're good. The people
Yeah,
their super stock has been one of the toughest classes and modified just because there's two females in there that will will just leave you in the dust. Like it doesn't matter where they start in the pack. What happens? They're gonna make their way to the front if they have enough laps.
I truly love watching those two girls race.
Yeah, and it's just
They are racers, man.
And it's someone for your daughter, if she does want to get into it, to look up to. You know, I mean, there's some really good people in there that can definitely kind of take her under their wing and kind of teach them some stuff for sure. So
those two girls will flat out put it on you. I mean, they put it on grown ass men every week.
Man, there's 5 or 6 ladies there that will outdrive a lot of us out there most nights.
Dude, when I was coming up, there weren't a lot of female drivers. Like you'd see like, you know, you see one and you'd be like, what are they doing? You know, like it was kind of an oddity back then. And
Trevor, I want to step down. I gotta send Shayna invite, okay?
Yep.
But as I got older, I started seeing more and more, you know, girls, teenage girls, women, you know, getting into it, and I thought it was cool, man. Like I've always wanted everybody, regardless of age, race, whatever, doesn't, you know, sex, like doesn't matter to me. Like if you want to get in the car and have fun, like get in the car and have fun. You know?
Anyone can try.
And it was funny because my wife, she would go to like Columbus Speedway with her mom and stepdad and sister when she was younger. Yeah. And coincidentally, like there's a chance that I may have actually raced in front of them at one point and just not
that's cool.
That'd be cool. But we went up to Lima Land. It's been a couple years, and it was the first race that we went to together.
Okay.
And we went up there, and it was like Friday. I got off work early. We said, "Oh man, let's go!" So we drove up to Lima. We live in West Liberty, like we're way out here.
Yeah.
So we drive up to Lima, and we get there, and they had a heat race, and there was this black sprint that would get to the front, get too high, get in the rough, you know, lose 3 or 4 spots, then get back to the front, and then do it again, and get back to the front, and do it again, and get back in the front, and do it again, and finally at the end of the Fasher, like they finished third, and you know, moved on to the main.
Yeah.
So then, howdy.
Hey, trying to get my mic here, my headphones to work.
Yeah, that's all right. But so they get out to the main, and they started, you know, like third or fourth. And then they worked their way to the front and dropped to the back. Worked their way to the front, dropped to the back. And then finally, towards the end of that race, that top line that they were getting caught in the rough the whole damn night started rubbering in. Yeah. And that's when I was kind of watching it about halfway through, about 3/4 of the way through the heat race. I was like, man, it really looks like they're trying to open that line up, you know? And sure enough, coming down to the checkered flag, High, Wide, and Handsome hooked up on that top line that they'd been running all night and losing spots, and passed for the lead and won. And the whole crowd goes wild, right? Everybody loved it. It was a great finish. They pull around, grab the checkered flag, and they get out the car, and I mean, they were this tall, and I was like, man, that's a small little guy. Yeah. And took her helmet off, and it was a girl. She was like 19 years old, but she made everybody at that track look like a joke that night. Yeah. And my wife was blown away. She's like, that's a woman. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I didn't know girls could race like that. And it's like, of course they can.
Absolutely. Dude, there's no one, when it comes down to racing, I don't think there's any difference between what gender's behind the wheel. At the end of the day, like I said, I race against some ladies that beat me every single weekend. Yeah,
and it's never like, and you never look at it like, well, she's like 20 pounds lighter than me.
No,
I watched
never.
her drive away from me like I wasn't doing, like I couldn't. Like they had 10 more horsepower than me.
Yeah, I'm always like, well, she's raced for probably 15 more years than I have, and she's raced for probably about 10 of those years on this track, most likely. Is kind of what I go through my head. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I've been racing for 5 years. Like most people I've been racing with or race along with, like they have a lot of experience under their belts. And there's a lot of older gentlemen that are there racing that have a long time under their belt of racing. You know what I mean? So you have a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn from anybody.
Yeah, and they always give you like 99%. They don't ever even give you that 100. You know when they give you the 100 because they absolutely spank you. So
yeah, no, it's a lot of fun seeing. It's a lot of fun seeing those girls race. Like they put on a great race. They're always clean. They're never dirty about anything, and they're just good drivers, man.
I know one. I know one. It is.
they're just good drivers, and they're fast, and they're fun. They're fun to watch.
Shane, it's nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I just had a long drive from Charlotte, so I finally just got home.
Well, hopefully everything's all right.
Yeah, doing good.
Now, talking about girl racers, you got a daughter that races, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yes, I got a daughter that races.
I've been trying to catch up on the podcast. And, Bill texted me earlier and said, "Hey man, can you jump on?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I had a track down here from track in Georgia lined up for today, but I had some family issues up in Charlotte and had to go up there and attend to it. And then by the time I got back home, just didn't work out.
Yeah,
so
no worries.
All good, brother.
Yeah. But hey, I'm here now.
Yeah,
but no, she's 15 years old, and I mean she does pretty good for her.
Yeah.
What now? Going to third season for her.
It's been awesome for me just to watch her develop from the very beginning to where she is now. So she can drive, man. There's a lot of people out there that can, especially down there.
Yeah, she's come a long way, and she's already excited about this upcoming season. So
good.
She's already sending me a bunch of crap. Like, I didn't want to do this. I need to do this. I'm like, all right, sweetheart. We'll get you there.
She going to be racing up here?
Yes. Yep. She's racing up there for half the season, then coming down here, and then racing half the season down here.
Are you going to allow her to go to the Ohio Valley, or not Ohio Valley, but the Ghost class? Or is she gonna
well, she talked about it. She says she wants to try it out. So if she wants to do it, I'll get her one.
It's a good class.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a really good class.
Well, she definitely wants to. We talked about it there the other last week maybe, and she wants to try that rookie class. She wants to step outside of the girls powder puff class and start easing her way into it. So start out the rookie and do some of the ghost, and so that's what she wants to do.
Yeah.
So what's you guys talk about, ghost class and stuff like that. Like what are your classes of jug?
So they changed some things up this year. So they have the kids class, which they have to run a restrictor plate on them. Okay. They have juice box, which is like these little Power Wheels looking things that they run out there. Those are for really, really young kids. And then they have the stock class. And then they have I wouldn't say it's a rookie class. I would probably say it's a class for the people that doesn't get to win a whole lot, or
like a developmental class.
Yeah, like a developmental class. And then they have stock, and they have super stock, and then they have stock appearing, which is mod, is what I refer to as mod. Those are the classes they're going to have. Oh, and the ghost class, they're going to have the ghost class.
Ghost.
The ghost class is so. A couple years ago, Harbor Freight came out with the motor called the Ghost. And it was it was their equivalent to the road course racing motors that everybody was building. This was their answer to give those guys that were starting in that a chance to go out there economically and run.
Like the 412s.
Find out they're pretty damn fast.
Okay.
So we have adapted them to the dirt. And we ran them was it last year or the year before?
Year before last.
Yeah, I ran one
Year
year.
before last, we ran them, and we had a lot of interest in it. It just kind of fizzled out there, but now that it's coming back, they're really pushing it, and I'm glad they are, because I mean, if you are ready to move from a stock class to like a super stock class or a mod class or stock appearing, and you don't want to spend all that money, this is the way to get into it.
Right, because I mean, hell, I think I was on Harbor Freight the other day. I was looking at it, and it was like, I think like what you guys run for stock, it's like 150, 180, something like that.
Yes,
And
sir.
then the Ghost was like 260 or something like that.
They have 260, and they have like an upgrade kit that you can buy for it that Jug recommends that you buy. And what it is an air filter, something to do with the carburetor, and an exhaust. This year, they're allowing they have an open exhaust rule, is what I've been hearing from them from up there, is they're going to allow you to use an open header, which is
I think we're losing you a little bit, Phil.
Yeah, we lost you a little bit. No, what he was just saying is they're allowing you to go with a different header than what they did from last year, or from the first year that they ran.
It's a fast class, man. They're peppy. I mean, they have got power. I am not kidding you. They have power.
Yeah, they're great. We haven't been on to race them a whole bunch to see what they're actually like, what they're really all about. But they made them to cater to the racing community specifically, just because Harbor Freight, the 212 wasn't made for racing. So Harbor Freight for years was being told by the racing community and all kinds of people that we want an engine that is built for racing. So they finally made the Ghost motor, which is their way to cater to the racing industry, instead of slinging all their Harbor Freight 212s, which still didn't work because that's all the racing.
Well, you know the thing is with that, you're 100% right. But I mean, we're really big Predator up this way,
Right?
Especially in Ohio. There's clone here, but man, where you want to really get into clone stuff, you got to go down to Shane's way.
Yeah, you're talking North South Carolina, Georgia.
They are clone this, clone that, clone this, and I get why they're around everywhere. But I get why I get why clone is so big. They're so big because they all follow a standard rule, no matter where you go. You follow their rules. I don't give a shit if you're in clone country and you go to Muller Racetrack or you go to Holdren Racetrack and they have clones. They're all the same rules.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like we were talking about earlier. You know, Florida is big. I'm finding out some places in Georgia is big. Yeah, and they're all running the same thing.
It's kind of wild.
Clones have been around for a really long time. That's what started the go karting after like the two strokes and everything. That of course, but
after Briggs,
after the Briggs and Strattons and everything. I mean, that was the clones were the Predator engines, and then came Predator, and then now comes Ghost. You know, I mean,
so give it 10 years and everybody will be running.
Predator. Everyone's going to be running the Predator, and then eventually everyone's going to be running the Ghost, just because
I don't know, man. Clone is just so big. The bad thing about clone, that what I've read, I've never ran a clone, so I mean, I'm just going off of this is strictly my opinion. I think clone is huge, but it's also very expensive.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Well, you were talking about
what's that?
We were talking about it at work one day, and you said something about like with the clone motors, like you got to rebuild them like every third race or some crazy.
Yeah, so I've heard from multiple different people that rebuild these things, and I've heard the same thing. After like 5-6 races in, you got to rebuild them. But now, Shane being down there, I understand why. Their tracks are huge.
They're huge.
huge.
Yeah,
Their
they're
tracks
big.
are big. And I mean, I just I like the Predator stuff because I think it's more economical for a family. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like
Mhm.
in your situation, Dustin, you got yourself and two kids that want to get into it. You know what I mean? So if you would have to go, if you would have to go clone, you would be you, you would be every bit of 6 grand.
He's breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit again there, bud. You're, but I think what it's, yeah, I won't want to speak for him since he froze up.
Just in
But
three motors.
yeah, you froze up there for a minute, Phil. But I think, yeah, I figured, kind of know what you're talking about. We were talking about that earlier. Is it's 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 expensive, especially if you're wanting to run multiple people, multiple carts,
Right.
and the classes. I mean, I've been looking at some of the classes on some of the tracks that are down here. It's, oh my, they can field 15 different classes
Mm.
of
Mm.
just of different ones. I sent that over to Phil, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, look at these classes that they have and how many they've got.
Yeah.
And then now, are you going to build a motor for each one of these classes? Do
Yeah.
you hone in on just one class?
But
But I think that's kind of what you were saying. You kind of broke up there, Phil. I was putting a
Yeah,
little bit of words in your mouth, but
sorry. I just think clone, like I was trying to say, if Dustin has two kids in himself, Shane, what we had researched in Clone World, I mean, you're going to be
excuse me.
every bit of 6 grand
mhm,
just in 3 motors to run. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I'm not tearing it down by any way. Don't take it that. I'm just saying, a family that is on a budget that is trying to get into this hobby, I would say clone is not the way you want to go. You want to go somewhere in the realm of a Predator. It's
mhm.
more economically
You work your way
funded.
up, work
Yeah,
your way up,
yeah,
work your way
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, plus,
I'm
you'd
not.
hate to go spend 6 grand and then find out you got two kids or even yourself. You get into it and go, this just isn't for me. Now you
Yeah,
spend all that money and you're
What?
just like, what the hell do I
Yeah.
do with it
So
now?
yeah. So okay, let's figure it out. So we research it, and you're anywhere from $1,400 to what was it, Shane? 2 grand for
two, yeah.
yeah to a clone motor.
You can get up
Okay,
to
so we got,
three if you really want to go
yeah,
big.
you can go to 3 if you really want, but let's just say 2 grand that you're right off the rip for a motor. You're going
Yeah.
to have to find a chassis. Yeah, you can find a cheap chassis online somewhere, and you're going to be anywhere for a good chassis, anywhere from $600-800 all the way up to $1,500. Some of them are $2,000. If you go to a brand new one, the new PRC chassis, fully loaded, it's going to cost you $3,400. You're at 5 grand on there, and you haven't
Yeah.
even got tires.
Yeah, you
So,
got tires
what I
and you
mean?
haven't even
And
seen a
it- and
tractor.
if your track says Maxim or it says Hoosier or Vega, there's $230 some a set of tires.
Which I had to change tires too.
And
we talked
that's if you can readily get them too. Sometimes
readily get 'em.
sometimes you can't get the tires. Yeah.
And that's
Right.
what Shane and I was talking about. Like I was telling him earlier, I was like, damn, man, like he's in the heart of clone country. So he is going to have to change his engine program. He's going to have to change his tire program because most of those tracks down here all run Vega or
Maxis.
Maxis. So he's got to change his whole setup just for him to run down south. And I mean, that's a huge undertaking, including if you have 2 or 3 carts that you got to use. I mean,
Well,
there's
not
just
just-
no way. I'm telling you, there's no way I could ever afford for me and Trevor to go down south to go race. Yeah, they put on huge money races, and I think it would be exciting. It would be fun. But I just cannot justify on a budget of building that kind of motor.
Yeah.
And you have to have a couple of them. You know what I
Right.
mean? To go money racing. And
What was that purse for that weekend I showed you? It was for the 14th. So it's $3 grand.
$3
And it
grand.
pays
They're
$3
up there.
grand for the purse, and then that's for the winner, and they're paying out for the top 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's total like $9,000 or something. like that.
$9,000
Yeah, for
total.
the whole
Yeah, I saw some big man. What was it? I can't remember where it was at. It was like 10 grand or something like that. It was some
Mhm.
big, huge invitational race and that was probably the most boring damn race that I watched.
They follow
it
the
was-
leader.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, I've seen probably like just getting on YouTube, when you search it up. I've probably seen 10 different tracks down south, and they're all the same. They're big, and it's
One lane
single file.
race. Yeah,
Yeah,
I hate
and
that.
I was
I
like,
hate it.
Mhm.
I will not race at a track that's one lane racing like that. It is not
Yeah.
fun. It's a waste of my time. And that's
Right.
my biggest thing. It's a waste of my time.
yeah, I'm not, I'm not going to put anybody down. I mean, you're
No,
going
no,
out there,
no.
you're
It's still
racing,
fun.
you're having a good time, and
No, I
and to-
agree.
To get those tracks to run like that is a
Mhm.
huge undertaking in itself,
time.
but it's
Well-
it almost just looks like asphalt racing.
Yeah, it's
to
just
me.
boring,
And
it looks
and I
like.
was like, yeah, sure, it'd be nice to go down there and win big money race or something, but
I
the
just
racing-
can't see it, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I just can't see it. I mean,
yeah,
I don't
that's a
know,
lot
I-
of money to put out for a cart unless you've got
Yeah.
some big sponsor or something that
You
you
have
That's
to
what I was
Yeah,
saying. That was
so-
what I was telling him earlier today on the phone. It's like, I wonder if some of these guys got some type of a deal in with these sponsors and stuff. That's what I was teasing Phil. I was like, man, it's like, hey, if there's any clone builders in Ohio that want to build me a motor to bring down here to say, hey, I could beat these guys down in the South,
Yeah.
I'll give you my address.
Right?
right. Then there is. I mean, clones up here. It's
Yeah.
just. I mean, clones up here. It's just not as big as what it is in the South.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I mean, clone has a big presence here, but I mean, I've yet to see a race up here in Ohio that weighs
Well,
1,500.
let me ask you this, because all three of y'all have run up here. What would you say is more important in Ohio with the tracks that you guys have been to? Horsepower or handle?
Tires. For me, it's
Or
tires.
handle.
I'll be honest, man. It's not horsepower.
It's not horsepower.
At least in the bigger classes, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that could be a debate for stock. Probably is more of a debate for a stock class. But I mean, there's people who have 10 horsepower engines that be 18 horsepower engines.
Mhm.
So it's handle.
Yeah, it's
'Cause, I mean,
it's driver and setup, man. I mean,
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
because the handling and the driver, they make the car.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's going to be some times in a race where you're like, man, they have a little more engine in here in front of me. I can tell. But at the same time, I mean, that's not a guarantee that it's more engine. That could just be your roll speed. That could be your driving. That could be you scuffing speed in the corners for turning too much. You know what I mean? That could be a lot of different things. But no, I mean, I wouldn't say it's horsepower for sure. I would say it comes down to the driver handling the cart, knowing what line, and experience. I mean, it's definitely, I would say, the driver more than
and that's
the
been
driver.
but that's been your experience pretty much across the board in Ohio,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I've only raced in Ohio, and I've only raced at a handful of tracks. It's just, that's what I've learned from what I've been through. So,
Well, Phil and I, we went out on track together. You had your mod, and I had my stock. There's moments when I was up at River Valley. There was moments where I was kind of keeping up with you. You weren't blowing me away. You were blowing me away coming out of corners, but in corners, I was there.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
So, like-
that's so.
But I just had
I
to
guess-
stock.
So I mean, like,
The point that I'm trying to make though is maybe the reason why Clone isn't as big up here is because you've got smaller tracks where that handling is more important. So it doesn't really matter what you bring. You can bring a box, a box Predator out, and if you got a good handling car, you got good setup for your tires, and you're catching the corners just right, you could run with anybody. Whereas down south, where it seems like the tracks are a lot bigger. The handling doesn't seem to matter as much because, it's a one lane race. All you got to do is keep it on the bottom. It's pretty much going to be the same setup for everybody. They need more horsepower to be able to pass compared to up here. So,
yeah.
Well, see, this is the thing, man. When you get into the bigger horsepower stuff, you got to be able to put it down to the track.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like that was my problem last
Mhm.
year. I created so much horsepower that I couldn't put it down to the track. And there was times where I could literally feel myself spinning all the way down the back stretch and
Right.
into the and I just could not put the power to the track.
Mhm.
And I mean, if you can't do that, you're going to get walked away on because you're trying to play catch up at that point.
Right.
You know, where
Yeah. So I mean,
you ever had a smaller motor, smaller displacement motor, and he can easily outperform me just because I'm trying to put down this insane amount of horsepower that's really not needed. And
Right.
he's right there at 18, 19, 20 horsepower, and he's able to just be consistent. I'm not, you know,
Right.
like I go into a corner and I try to get back on the fuel and I start slinging the rear end out because I'm just trying to fight traction. But there was also some nights down there too where I had all the power and you wasn't catching it. You know what I mean? Or I was up front with the other guys because we all came together and we were all able to put power down that night. You know what I mean?
Because they were catching. Tires are catching.
Yeah. Tacky track.
So like one thing I could tell you for sure is just, I mean, our super stock class down at Jug Run can run about very close to 12 seconds around the track, and our mods will run about 12.4 around the track, depending on the track night, depending on whatever. But our super stocks will run faster lap times than the modifieds will most of the time, if not all the time.
There is some
And they're lower horsepower, just because I mean that's where he's saying is like being able to put it to the track. Our super stocks are restricted to what you can do to them to an extent, but they can literally go out on the same track right beside a modified and beat it around the track and win the race with being on a lower horsepower setup. So it's just what you can put to the track and how you can handle the cart with what.
And there's some nights there too that the stock appearing, which are mods, they have flat out put down 11-second lap time at that track.
Right.
And that is just flat out getting it at that track. I mean, that's just flat out hauling ass. I mean,
Yeah, because it's what, 8th mile.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but I do think you make a good point, Dustin, as far as that it could very well be why I think a lot of the tracks down south, the go-kart tracks were not go-kart tracks originally. They were originally big car tracks that got turned into go-kart tracks and or are still both. So that's why we see that, I think, as well. But I do think that's probably a good point. I don't know. I haven't been around Clone a whole bunch, honestly, just because of where we live, I think. But I don't think there's a huge difference. I think they're supposed to be relatively pretty close in spec. There's a difference. I don't think it's anything drastic. I don't honestly know that for sure. But the price point is different. For sure.
I know. As I said, I'm going to try to hit. I think it was like on the 15th or something like that. I want to go to race down just below Savannah. Then there's one just west of us, I think the week after that, where they're having like a big flea market type night. So plan on doing a lot of interviewing and a lot of media work when I go. So do a lot of talking and interviewing. And
so one of the few things I have kind of heard about clones was people in the clone world complain about was there just being so many classes in the clones that there was 13 different classes. The night takes forever. You're racing four different classes and so forth.
So I pulled up this one track they've got, which is the guy that was going to be on tonight, but I had to move him to another night because I was late getting in. And this is what I was asking him about. You got the amateur light, you got a clone medium, clone heavy, clone super heavy, and then a clone sumo. And then they've got this one, it was a Masters 35, which I thought was kind of neat. It's because I asked him about that. That's anybody 35 years or older.
I like that.
I like that. That's a pretty neat class. And then they got clones for the kids with plates too.
And that's what, 3 more classes?
Yeah. Yeah, 4.
So you got how? So you
Red,
4 more
green,
classes.
purple, and blue.
And
And a
10
junior
plus
class.
10 plus class. Yeah, so you're at like 12 plus classes at least. Yeah, I mean for one track.
And then not to mention you still got the adult predator class.
Yeah, and that was it. And that was their big thing is there were so many classes in clone, but they also did predator. So that there's literally like 24 classes in a full day's event.
4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 for this particular race.
Okay, so how does it say how many laps they run?
No, I haven't got to that. That's just their rules and regulations. Well, their class rules. So here, what I found interesting too about this track is they do a front driver restriction on your predators.
Mm-hmm.
So a 16 and a 17. So
you
that
can't
tells
go
you right
around
there
it.
how big that track is.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge.
Yeah.
That's a big
If they're
track.
putting a restriction on your front driver of 16 and 17.
They probably don't want you going. They probably want you going so fast.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
okay.
I know
So
that 17
Hit
runs
the
pretty
corner
quick.
going like
'cause I have
90.
so let's say you're a 35-year-old man.
Yeah.
You are able to run in pretty much 8 of those classes.
You could run in, depending on your weight. So, being my size, I'm 150. I could run in the adult predator, switch my motor, run in the Masters 45, run in the clone medium. If I can run in the clone medium, and then go back to the amateur light if I really wanted to too. So there's the amateur light, which is 14 years old and up, which is open, everything. So I'm assuming that's a clone. And then switch my motor back. Yeah, I can run in 4 classes if I wanted to.
Okay, so you can run in 3 of those are clone. So
Yes.
imagine if they're 20 laps a piece, you would literally, and there's
Not
let's
bad
say
point.
they invert. There's 2 Cessnas, so they probably invert, and then they have their feature.
Yeah.
So let's say, dude, that is over 100 laps.
Yeah.
In one day. No wonder they got to rebuild those things every couple of races.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's insane.
I'm trying to get
That's wild.
the
Start
specs on
racing
this
at like
bunch.
noon. Get finished
Yeah.
at like
Oh
3
yeah.
o'clock
Yeah,
in the
they start
morning.
Well,
racing
some of them are 2-day events too.
2-day events too.
Some of them are
It
2-day
almost
events.
has to be. That
Yeah.
many classes, that many cars.
Yeah, some of them are 2-day events.
I mean, I'm not knocking it. I just
It's pretty
don't
cool.
see how a family or a single parent on a budget is able to get into this and start racing with that. I mean,
Well, they don't, and that's why our industry, our community goes up and then comes down, then goes up and then comes down. As go-karting has always gotten really popular, started to die off. Get real popular, starts to die off. Until Predator came in, it kind of stabilized. I feel like just because
It's that way. It's that
Here,
way.
I
in
got the
asphalt,
laps
too.
now. So
Mhm.
here we go. So the warm-up clones, 15 laps or 15 minutes. Rookies, 10. Pros, 12. Pro class clones, 20 laps, 20 minutes. The smoke out, which is I guess it's another class. They run 40 laps.
Damn.
So, as I said, that's for their qualifying race. So I'd like to, as I said, once he gets on here, I'd really like to dive in and ask him, what it's like, what this track's like and stuff. And when I talked to him over the phone, he's a super nice guy. I answered all my questions. I
hope he doesn't think that like what we're saying tonight is
No.
clone.
No,
It's
no,
just
no.
we don't understand.
We
clone.
don't understand it.
Yeah, we're not in
Where
that
we
world.
come from, like I just don't understand the fascination with clone. I get it. They're all. What I do like about it is they all follow the one set of rules that are made by a governing body. I do like that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you can drive from one track and go to another one the next day, and it's exactly the
Yeah,
same.
it's on your engine builder, not on you. Or
Yeah, be on your engine builder. The other thing is like I just don't see it economically.
Yeah.
For a guy
it's
like
tough, man.
Dustin and Shane and even Trevor and myself,
Well, I mean, a lot of us got into goat karting because we couldn't afford a sprint car or a late model. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
So,
Well,
Right.
that's what I was telling him. I was like, if that was the case, I'd go buy me a Mod Light.
yeah, right.
Yeah, and go run mod.
Or
Light
down
out.
here,
I would
down
be
here
racing
they,
4 cylinders for the rest of my
yeah,
life.
down
I
here
wouldn't
it's
even
the
care.
Legends. I'd go buy me
Yeah.
a Legend down here.
Yeah, most
That's-
Hey,
definitely.
legends are fun.
Yeah,
feel
that's
that
what they run.
influence.
They run a lot of those down here.
I mean, I'm having a blast in goat karts. It don't matter what
Oh,
you
yeah.
put me in. You can put me in a golf cart, and I'm gonna race
Yeah.
that thing and have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Hey, dude, I had the track record at what was that? Scene 75 in Dayton for like 3 years. I'm just saying. Like, yeah, you put me
That's
behind the
awesome.
wheel. You put me on something with at least 2 wheels on it, and I'll take it for
You-
a spin.
You
I
you'll
mean,
figure it out, right?
yeah. But
Well, he
That's
said it,
awesome.
Trevor. All we gotta do is put 2 wheels on his cart. He'll figure it out. So that's all I gotta do.
to
Figure
be
it out.
honest, there's been 3 or 4 times where we've only had 3 wheels on our cart. So
Yeah, I've seen you guys do that.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I think at both of us, I'm pretty sure. Actually,
Yeah.
I've seen some of them late model boys run on dirt and lose like a left front in an accident or
Oh, yeah,
something
they
like
don't
that.
even
They'll
care.
just keep the
Still going.
power to it.
I
They
love
just keep
it.
going.
yeah, we
Yes.
tried, couldn't.
I tried. I
We
tried.
lost a back wheel. Then next thing you know, you're
Uh-huh.
just going like spinning
Going
around.
in circles. I was trying. Like I said, but I was on top of the bank just doing donuts. I was trying to get it to catch. I was going to keep on going. I didn't think too far ahead. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to turn. But I was going to try. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey.
it's all fun and stuff,
is.
man. And
We have a blast.
we have a blast. And I really think that you're going to enjoy it. You're going to have fun. You'll meet some new people. And you'll be part of the family, as everybody says. Jug will open you with open arms and stuff.
So where are you from?
So I'm here in Ohio. Me and Phil actually work together.
Oh, okay, gotcha,
We
gotcha.
literally share an office.
Oh, nice.
But
So we talk about racing all day long.
all the time.
All
nice.
the
Yeah, like all the time. It's either that or it's either that or Ohio State's amazing and I'm a
That-
Texas guy, but-
So have you've go kart raced before?
So I did asphalt. So
Asphalt, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I did asphalt, go-karts, Pro 4 stock, late model,
Okay.
modifieds.
Yeah, I know. I got late to the show, so I didn't get the
No,
backstories and
you're
stuff
fine,
like that.
buddy.
So
Yeah.
He's an
Arca-
asphalt guy.
Yeah,
Asphalt.
Arca ASA, but it was outside of the go-karts. It was all oval.
it's a blast.
So-
I tell you what, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I've
That's
been on dirt twice and did not
It's a
do
lot of
super
fun.
well either time. So yeah, this
It's
is
a lot of
this one's got my
well then come on in. Welcome to the family then.
yeah,
Right.
dude. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I can't wait. I
Yeah.
cannot wait.
I know I'm not racing much this year, but I can't wait to just go out and just watch it too.
Yeah.
So
I'm waiting for a schedule to come up so I know
Mhm.
what days
Tomorrow.
that it comes up tomorrow.
Yeah,
There
I
should
was
be
told
too much
today by Jug Run that they're officially going to drop the rules and
Okay.
calendar hopefully tomorrow.
okay.
But we'll have plenty to talk about tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
that and pretty sure we'll have some more shit to talk about tomorrow because they're running the crappy Bowman Gray race tonight.
That's what I was just getting ready to look up and see. You got it on?
Yeah. I caught some highlights from it. I
I knew my uncle said it was packed.
Not a fan
Yeah,
of it, man.
It was packed at the place.
Not a
we
fan
got-
of it.
we got another guy that used to work at our shop. He left, but he's a big dirt guy. His grandson is obsessed with it. They spend like every weekend at Eldora.
Mm.
And yeah, he texted me last night. He's like, "Man, are you watching?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't even have cable. Like, I do everything on the internet." Like,
Right now, the running order is they're 63 laps in at 200. Elliott, Butcher, Reddick, Hamlin, Bell, Kalowski, Briscoe, Logano, Husqvarna, Wallace, Van Gissenberg, Pierce, Cedric, Larson, Blaney tops out. That's your top 15.
So my question here, I got a quick question for you then. Since you and I are both Hendrick guys, how long do you think it's going to take for them to put somebody else in that 48?
But I think at the end of this year.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
You think they'll dump Bowman?
Yep. Yep. He's not very. I mean, he's talented. By far, he's talented. But I mean, if you're looking at it as the talent that they've got around him with Chase Elliott and Larson, he does.
Yeah.
And then what's coming up behind him?
And and what's coming up behind him, it just you don't. It
Yeah,
doesn't
I'd agree with that. He out of
What's that?
out of those
Rajesh
guys.
something? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the kid that drives truck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's good. He's
Yeah.
good. He's got a good fan following too. And
Oh,
he's not.
And the boy can drive. So
Yeah.
I'm watching this race right now, and like
He's Bubba Wallace without the politics.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate saying it that way.
don't
I
even
mean,
put him in that category. 'Cause
well,
Wallace is
Bubba
a-
can only run in them super speedways.
yeah, it's was it Caruth, right? Raj Caruth.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes,
Something
yeah.
really
I knew he had like a.
He's a hell of a driver. I
Yeah.
got to see him a little bit last year. He's great.
Yeah.
But,
I'm literally like talking to you guys and watching this, and it's literally a 1-lane race. It's really.
I knew it was. Yeah.
yeah. From the highlights I saw, you had to push somebody out of the way to get by him. And,
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to pop up the telemetry on how fast they're going because I'm quite.
Well,
honestly-
right now I see that what they're running 15-second lap times.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's what I
92
got
miles
in
an
here.
hour. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like us driving to work every day.
Yeah. 15-second lap times. That's what Chase is running. Well, right now
distance.
I wouldn't mind seeing him do a little better this year.
He ain't.
I think coming off that injury, he
Yeah, it set him
Yeah,
back.
but he did it to himself, man. Who the hell goes out
Was
and
he
3
skiing?
weeks before Daytona, you go out snow skiing knowing that you have to, you got to get ready for one of the biggest races of the year, and you're going to go out snow skiing. And you try to jump off a 2-story jump.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Hendrick
Yeah,
should have fired him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those. That was definitely like one of those mind baffling. You know, you're just kind of like, what the hell? But,
Yeah, I was looking to see if there's any number changes. Really, there's not very many. Nobody changed.
Well,
numbers
Elliott
this year.
started from the pole, and he's led it. Everything.
Oh yeah, but as in like car number wise, I mean, I don't see anybody really. They're all got pretty much same. Oh, they put Chase and Briscoe into 19.
Yeah, there was a bunch of changes this year. Van Gissenberg left and went to the 88 car.
yeah, he's
Really?
running a big
Yeah,
game.
seen that. Yeah. I was wondering who's going to get in that 19. I guess that's a good takeover. Truex. I mean,
Yeah.
in the 19.
I know Trevor doesn't follow NASCAR, so
No, I haven't
Now,
chimed
Trevor,
in
you're-
once, so
Now, Trevor, you a Formula One guy?
I do like I do like Formula One a lot. It
Ooh.
was like this upcoming or the last season.
Oh,
I
we got
watched
a wreck.
a lot. I
We
watched a
got a
lot
wreck.
more.
surprising that. Guess who? Byron just spun out.
Byron?
Yep.
Who's that?
William Byron in the 24 car just got pushed out of the way by Reddick.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, Tyler Reddick. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
No,
you two will get along. You guys like that Formula One crap.
I'm like you, dude. I paid the Formula One TV subscription.
Oh, really?
It was like $90 for. I can watch every Formula One race from like the last 40 years.
right.
You know, I can watch the races live from anywhere on my phone. I can watch the in car with the radio. Like, yeah, it's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it if you're a Formula One fan. So.
Yeah, I don't have that or anything. We used to have the ESPN Plus, so I'd usually wake up and in the mornings they would already be on, so I'd just throw it on, and me and my daughter would just sit out there and watch it for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Formula One, I definitely like NASCAR. It's just I don't know. I just haven't really followed it or anything.
I'm just not a fan of their playoff format. It's not a stick and ball sport.
Yeah.
So why
no.
have a playoff? It's just I'm not a fan.
I'm
of a
just
playoff racing.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Formula. What I like the Formula One is just like one of the cars are so sweet. They're
Yeah.
really fast. The engineering and the technology in them is just really next
Well-
level. The racing itself is a lot of fun, depending on the track now. But it's just way more exciting in my opinion. They can get boring for sure, but Formula One's definitely. I even like watching the Formula 2 and 3 and stuff. I'll watch the Miata Cup stuff. Like I'll really watch anything.
Yeah.
But Formula One, I watch more of than I do NASCAR for sure. So
I got you. Who's your team and who's your driver?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't really like have like a one person that's like definitely my favorite. I mean, I like Hamilton just because what he's done for the sport, but I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't really have one that just really sticks out or anything. I'm really not the guy that's like a bandwagon. I usually go for the underdog most of the time. But I really don't have a favorite at Formula One team or racer. Actually, now that I think about it, I usually just turn it on and watch it.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually kind of odd. Normally, I usually pick one car. I'm like, I like that car. Yep, that's it. Or something. But for some reason, the Formula One, I've never had. I just not thought. I don't honestly think I have one.
I've been a McLaren guy forever.
Yeah, McLaren.
And I really like Piastri.
Yeah.
Like he's literally just ice in his veins, never loses his cool. Like I expect big things out of him. I think he'll win. I think he'll get a title before Norris does, to be honest.
It's possible. I was going to say Norris, but I was like, because I don't really have one for sure, but McLaren team is definitely a good one. I'm kind of excited to see where the Ferrari goes now that they're going to have Hamilton and stuff.
I'm telling you what, the way they finished the season, they outscored everybody in the second half of the season, and it hurt me to see them dump Carlos like that just because Hamilton wanted to come over.
Right.
That one hurt me a little bit because I like Carlos, But yeah, no, I'm really, being a McLaren guy and everything. I'm nervous. I mean, we brought it to Red Bull, but Ferrari was right there, and I think they kind of got overshadowed. And I expect Ferrari to absolutely light it up this year.
I'm waiting for Cadillac.
Yeah, 2026 is going to be interesting, man. You got Cadillac coming in with Ferrari engines. Audi's coming.
That was one team that I was kind of like leaning towards a little bit just because they're new, and I always liked Audi in general. But
right,
I'm interested to see where that can go for them.
Yeah, Stake is leaving, and Audi will be taking over that. Yep. And it'll be interesting to see how they do.
I look for Cadillac to hit NASCAR too.
I would expect so. But yeah, complete change in the rules package. Smaller cars, smaller wheelbase, smaller wheels. So it's going to be. I think it's going to turn into a horsepower race. Those cars are just going to handle naturally a little bit better. So I think it's going to turn into who's got the best engine. And here lately, I think it's going to be a Ferrari thing. So
yeah. The one thing I don't like too much about the Formula One is kind of like I feel like there's a few teams that just have are so much further ahead on like the research and development portion that just you can see that year after year. That they're just so far ahead with their cars.
Well, the kind of offset that they have that Formula One has in place is during the off season. They have scheduled testing and stuff like that, especially with like wind tunnel time, and it is strictly adhered to. And so like whoever wins the championship, right? Like whoever wins the constructors championship, like so for instance, like McLaren this year, McLaren has the least amount of wind tunnel time and testing time. And like Williams, or Stake, whoever's finishing down there at the bottom, like they get the most.
Gotcha.
So it kind of gives them the opportunity to kind of find their find something that they didn't find the year before and be able to kind of close that gap.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. 2026 is going to be nice. I'm ready for the rules change. They're going to get rid of DRS. ERS is going away. There's no more of that push
Gotcha.
to pass.
Okay. Yeah, that'd
So
make
it's
it interesting.
it's really gonna go back to kind of like the V10 days with Raikkonen and
Perfect.
Alonso. And
Perfect.
that was my
Yeah.
heyday. I was a huge Kimi Raikkonen fan. He could show up this year and be like, "Hey, by the way, I'm gonna run this year," and I would be like, "All right, well, forget you guys. I don't care where he's
Right.
running. I'm gonna follow him." So, but
Yeah,
Well-
or watch F1 racing.
oh,
I try and I try to follow it, but I don't know like these two guys.
No.
Now you want to
No.
talk dirt or NHRA? I'm all over it.
Yes, I'm NASCAR. I know my NASCAR stuff.
Yeah.
I know my NASCAR. I know my Formula One. I can older NHRA. I can stick with you. Dirt stuff. Buddy.
I had Devin Moran won the other day.
Yeah, well, the true old guys always like Jackie Boggs and Delmas Conley and Scott Bloomquist and all those guys. All those guys are gone. They're all gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I watch my NASCAR if it's going to be anything watching on TV.
Yeah, I'm not impressed by this. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not even probably going to turn it on right now. I looked at the field and where they're stacked up at. I'm like, I really don't care about Hamlin. Was he in second?
Yeah, he's running second.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard pass on that guy.
You can't pass, man. I mean, he's right there. He's got a faster car, it looks like, than Chase, but he just
Well, he's running quicker lap times too. By looking
just
at
can't
it,
pass nobody.
not a big fan of Reddick. Really don't care.
Whole front
Hell,
14, the whole top 13 can crash, and I'll be happy.
yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Then you got Kozlowski, Bell, Logano. That's your guy.
But yeah, that my ass.
Wallace, Kendrick, Blaney. But
Where's Blaney at?
12.
That's my guy.
He just moved it. Yeah. Larson's
He's a-
14.
He's the first Ford driver that I said was like my favorite guy on the track since Davey Allison. So
Yeah. I had an uncle was a huge Rusty fan.
Did you guys see where they banned the Michael Jordan
Really?
logo
Really?
at
Who
this
did?
race? Yeah, somebody, I think NASCAR banned it. So Reddick's team had to go put black tape all the way around the Michael Jordan logo.
Well, Jordan's.
He's a
There's-
sponsor of the damn team.
Well, yeah, he's a sponsor of the team. Where he owns that
He
car. and
owns
then,
part of it, yeah.
he owns North Carolina. I mean, he owns Charlotte.
I mean, if you
he's
look at
everywhere.
the car, that's their only logo on there, and it's blacked out. The Michael Jordan pose from the Jordans.
Yeah, the
It's
Jumpman logo.
blacked out. They blacked it out with black tape
That's weird.
on the hood, the roof, both doors.
Who's driving that? Reddick?
Should be
Oh,
Reddick.
Excited.
Yeah,
all right, guys. Well, Dustin, we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't wait for the season to start. It's getting close
Mhm.
for us. Shane, shut your mouth. Year actually starts here in a week.
Yeah, I think a week or so, depending on
Yeah,
some
that
family
must be
things and
nice.
stup like that. I hope to get
Bucks
out.
are Tony Phil today, seen a shadow, so we get 6 more weeks of winter, he says. But Buckeye Chuck
Man.
he is, so we're 50-50.
Our groundhog's sitting at the beach right now. So
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he's out there with sun.
Careful, you're gonna get snowed on.
I hope it goes south of
Oh.
us, everything from now on, and he just gets pummeled.
Did I tell you? I don't think I told that when we got it shut down. When the Waffle House closes, you know it's bad.
Oh, you know
And they
it's bad.
shut down the Waffle House. It was like Snowmageddon for 2 inches. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it.
I believe
Never
it.
seen anything like it.
And you know what? Shane's been down there for a month now, and he's fallen right in line. I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Yep, it's snowing. Got to get home. They're going to shut everything down."
They're gonna shut everything down.
And I talked to him the next day, and he's like, "Yep, it snowed." He sent pictures, and I was like, "You go to work?" He's like, "No."
They shut us down. they literally shut everything
You're from
down.
Ohio, man. You got like 2 inches. You should have been able to clearly drive all the way to
No,
work.
they shut down everything, and it was insane. Well, I'll put it this way, real quick, before we hop off here. This was Sunday. We got a notification from the school closing down school for Tuesday for the chance of snow. They closed school for a chance of snow, and I'm like,
Well, I mean,
Ugh.
nah. Yeah, well, sure enough, them kids
well.
didn't go to school all week.
Damn.
Jesus.
And I'll tell you what, people here was just like, it was insane. And my neighbor across the street, I was out there talking to him, and he's lived down here his whole entire life. And he goes, "This is probably the 5th time I've ever seen snow." I was like, man.
So Terry sent me this thing. I should have shared it with Dustin and Trevor and you guys, but it literally was a video of Florida, the part that got snow. They had 2 guys strapped at the back of a pickup truck with bags of rock salt with cups driving down the road and just throwing it out the back of the truck. That's how they were salting their roads down there.
They
They
just
didn't
did.
do it until during the middle of the day. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
They didn't even
literally
touch
had-
anything.
It was so funny. They both had a bag sitting in front of them. They were strapped to the back of the bed, and they were taking cups, and they were just out behind them, just throwing it out. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
That's a completely different world, bud. It's a completely different world.
It's like the freaking world had ended for you guys down there for like 4 days.
Yeah, they shut down, literally shut down everything for 3 days. They did. For 3 days, everything was shut down. No stores. I went in to go to the grocery store, Walmart's.
So let me ask you this, Shane. What would happen if you guys would have got the brittle cold like we got when it was like -20 for like 4 days?
Oh, they
Would
would
it
have
shut
done nothing.
down?
They would have done nothing. They would have. It would have been mass chaos.
Yeah,
Really?
it'd be Armageddon. When I was in
Oh, yeah.
Augusta, we got 3 inches of snow the second day I was there,
Yeah.
and the whole state was under a state of emergency for
Yeah,
like
they
a
just
week and
did.
a half.
Yeah,
You gotta be shitting me.
yeah.
I-
Well, I'm in Statesboro, which is about 2 hours just south
Yeah.
of Augusta. So I just drove through Augusta to get here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
So-
like for 4 days. What was it, Dustin? Like -15?
Oh yeah. Well,
Oh yeah,
It-
dude. Yeah, we're sitting in the shop and we're freezing because like the heater can't keep up. Like
these guys are complaining when it's 32 degrees outside. Like, I can't feel my hands, and I'm like,
Jesus
and
Christ.
that's when I said, imagine this
yeah, you got like a hoodie on. You're like, all right.
for
This
3
is
months.
nothing. That's great weather.
Yeah, I was like, let's go, let's get it, guys. I'm out there with just a long sleeve shirt on, and they're looking like they're getting ready to go get some sled dogs.
Yeah, it was 35 today, and I went out and cleaned my garage with just a long sleeve shirt on. So
I know, man. I thought it was supposed to be 50 all weekend, and I was so excited. It didn't even get up in the 40s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna hit 80
Oh, shut your mouth.
Wednesday.
Hey, we're supposed to hit 60 this week, but it's gonna be pouring down rain again.
Yeah.
Shane, I hope every day it races down there, you guys get torrential downpours.
Well, when I was going to go to Golden Isles, I was going to go, and it rained on me. So
Well,
there you go.
There
You got
it
your
is.
wish
I'm
for
getting
one
my
day.
wish. I'm knocking on the table now. I hope it rains every time you get to go racing.
Oh man. Until we start, at least
Ouch.
I'll throw that in there.
Until what, March or April?
Yeah, whenever
we got 4 months.
you got like a month or two, just
All right,
raining
all right.
every Saturday.
All
We
right,
at
that sounds
least,
fair.
I would say here in Ohio, we probably got at least another month and a half.
I'd say you got to get through your mud season.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
once March gets here, it's
Mhm.
gonna either snow or it's gonna storm,
Yeah.
and then
I
it'll be
told-
like that all the way through April.
I told people you've got it. You go through a cycle in Ohio, especially in the construction industry. Is winter, you're froze.
Yep.
Then you got your thaw mud season, and then you got a couple weeks of it's awful nice, and then it's stupid hot,
Yep.
and then you got your fall. It's like then it's back into mud season, and then you
Yep.
go into winter again.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. All right,
So,
guys.
all
Well,
right.
I'm going to bring this rocket ship to a close.
Yep.
And I appreciate everybody getting on. Dustin, thank you for coming on.
Yep,
on
thanks,
short
guys.
notice.
Absolutely, man.
Trevor,
Anytime.
thank you for
Yeah, it's
filling
great
in.
meeting you
Yeah,
guys.
sorry
Of course.
guys that I was late to the
James.
show.
Thanks
No.
for being late.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, go out there and support your local track wherever you guys are.
Yep.
Keep it good. Have some good, clean racing, and build memories and family. And wouldn't do it without you. Love everybody.
Yep.
Everybody have a good week. See you next weekend.
All right, guys. Have a great one.